fancy intro music. Yeah! Woo!
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel with a couple of big things in this update that I want to talk about, including a research, and that's basically what this video is about, that I think a lot of people have misunderstood, because the day that it came out, I heard a lot of people kind of griping about it, that it wasn't good enough. And I also have had, just in the past couple of days, the same experiences, whether it was during the streams, people talk about it, or in Discords. So I wanted to clarify that, and then also doing a quick refresher on the Para Bellum event, because now that it's out today, and will be out a couple of more times during the month of December, I want to remind y'all some easy ways, even though we just did a video about this a couple days ago, just to kind of point you in the direction, hey, here's a couple things that you can do to score. So to start off, let's actually bust open the Meridian and talk about what I'm talking about. So you can see my Meridian is currently tier 3. I will be leveling it up and tiering it up here now that I'm using Isogen more. For a long time, the process of mining Isogen was really just such an active activity that most people didn't want to partake in it. A lot of people didn't anyway, and myself was in that number, to the point that I basically only got Isogen by OPC hunting it, which is fine, but it can be very difficult, especially if your server is in a constant state of war, meaning not a lot of people are just actually mining actively Isogen unless there is an event. So I've actually been falling behind a little bit in that regard. But now we can use the Meridian in a way that gives it a lot more protected cargo, thanks to a new research. Now, mine is at tier 3, and this number is going to be pretty big for a lot of people. But at tier 3, running this particular crew for protected cargo, I'm sitting on 66,000 protected cargo, which for Meridian, most of you will recognize is a ridiculously high number. And many of you are asking, well, how did that happen? So to give you a frame of reference, my starting, before we do the research that I'm talking about today, was 9633. That was my starting protected cargo. I want to talk about how it increases as I went up. Now, this is my protected cargo with this crew starting off. So let's back up and talk about what we're going to talk about. So if you go into your territory research tree, you're going to find the new, I don't need that right now, Scopely, thank you. You're going to find the new research in the bottom left corner, right here, Meridian Fortification. Yes. Fortification. So you see I have a 10,000 bonus, and the thing with a lot of players where they saw this and went, well, what the heck does getting 1,000 more protected cargo do for me? I mean, now what am I gonna be? I'm gonna do 10 researches to then now have 15,000 protected cargo or 20,000. But the key with this research is how exactly it applies. It'd be nice if the little info button would tell you that, but it doesn't. And that's why you need content creators like myself, or Ultimate DJ, or No One Shall, or whoever it is that you go to, which hopefully is all of us, because we're all here to help you out. So here's how it works. This is 1,000% at level 1 or 10,000 at level 10 added to the base of your Meridian, meaning things like research, meaning things like officers will work on top of it. So it's not just a flat bonus that works at the end where, hey, now we did a plus 10,000 with it. So that's how we end up getting the numbers that we see here on the screen, where you see my Meridian having 66,000 as a tier 3, which is a very, very low tier Meridian. It will be higher in the near future, going up to 66,000. And what it ends up doing is basically for every level, based on where I was at, I was adding about 5,500, 6,000 protected per. Now, the easy way to calculate that is, well, just take what you have here. So my DuPont, 50%, firewall protection, 50%, and then my T'Pring 300%, so I got a 400% bonus. So just quick math, if we're going to get a 400% bonus to an additional 1,000 a base, and that's just the base, that would be plus 4,000 every single time. So now we're seeing that number trickle up, where we're getting, okay, now we're starting to see the math add up. We're starting to see how we can get there. If we do that rough type of math with 10 levels, well, that's roughly 50,000 additional. But that's also not taking into account some of the other researches and the Meridian itself. Now, we'll go ahead and add that I do have a tier 4 part upgraded for my cargo, and I will be taking this to the next level. But look at the protected cargo amount on it, 1,300 naturally in this cargo bay. That is a very, very small protected. Those are one of the main concerns or main complaints about the Meridian, was how low the protected cargo was. Even though the cargo capacity is honestly not that bad, especially for a lower level player. It's, comparable to some of the other ships in the late 20s and getting into faction miners. Not to that same degree, but at a low level, there's a lot of cargo capacity, but there's simply not a lot of protected. So that was an issue. And now we're able to take this protected cargo amount and turn it into this protected cargo amount with different crew loadouts. Now, this does, of course, get inflated by the fact that I have a max to Pring and I've got DuPont and Joaquin, but they're also low-level officers for the most part. My DuPont, as you can see, is a tier 1, not exactly rocking it out with the hidden stash. And then we've also got my Joaquin, who as a captain is only a 50% bonus to protected cargo. Now, the new officer that's coming out will be very, very nice on your Meridian. When I'm talking about the new officer, I'm talking about your new Orion Syndicate officer. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom so he's easy to find. He is right here. Grush. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right, but we're going to go with it. With his what's mine is mine, increasing protected cargo by 100%. So that would go up even more. Where you're looking at probably the best protected cargo that you can run is going to be Borg to Pring on the side, Grush right here as captain, and then regular to Pring. You know, you're able to then start taking this Meridian to protected cargoes in the hundreds of thousands, depending on the level that you have your Meridian. That is finally making it to where you can leave it on a node and forget it. And the good thing with this research is it's really not that expensive. I did not have to spend 200,000, 300,000 ISO emulsion to max it out. It was something that I was spending like, 7,000 ISO emulsion at the end. I was spending, a couple thousand here and there. So it's easy and affordable. And then you also combine it with the fact that a lot of the things that have gotten added, like you see the warp coil enhancement, which is a new research. Look at the phantom particles and the quantum particles and the Surex. The amounts required for especially the low levels are, like I said, quite low. So this was basically a full quality of life research added into the game, where in a couple of days or even 1 day worth of mining, depending on where you're at, you could max out your Meridian protected cargo or just go hunt the OPC until you need it. And I'm not trying to encourage y'all to not be raiders, but I'll be honest, there's not a huge need to do that at the moment when you can just simply pop on here, and I will go ahead and get this very quickly. I'm not even using a exocomp, but I'm going to mine at 144,000 an hour. I'm going to fill this up in 15 minutes and dock probably before I get hit by my opposing alliances, those who are currently at war with me. So the Meridian Research is one of the few examples of research that's going to give you such an impressive addition to your game, because it's going to add to the base. It's not one of those things that works like a lot of other researches, which is just a percentage built on top later on. Instead, this is actually magnifying the original amount. So if we look at that cargo bay that said 1,300 protected cargo, now you're basically looking at 1,130 protected cargo. So it was 1,300, now it's 11,300. And then you're able to do your math on top of that to find out what you get. And hey, lo and behold, the math works, because if we had 11,300 protected cargo and then we had our 400% bonuses, we're going to get right around that number we were looking at, which was 66,000. So the math checks out, it works. And now that you understand it, you understand the need for you to go ahead and jump in and do that research, to the point where maybe you even bought a third researcher like I did to make sure we're getting all these new researchers going, because I've got researches taking a month. Here's my Romulan Pursuit. There's my Rapid Construction. And then I'm doing some augment stuff because I'm finally catching up on all that augment and rogue stuff. You'd be very, very happy for me, DJ, that I'm finally giving love to your favorite galaxy or your favorite research tree. Not his favorite, but he loves it more than I do. And there's some great stuff in there if you're going to be a player in the 40s. Real quick, I want to do a refresher on Para Bellum. First off, if you don't remember what Para Bellum is, let me show you what Para Bellum is. Starting at level 39, you will get this event. You can also get the ISS Jelly Brawl event, which is very important as a level 39 player if you've unlocked the ISS Jelly. However, you simply need to be level 39 to get the Si Vis Pacem Para Bellum, which my Latin is awful. Just know this is the event. And this is the one that pays out all the Latinum that a lot of you see me with. You'll be like, well, Rev, how did you get 700,000 Latinum? Para Bellum. You can see that from this event, I will be getting what? It's roughly 9,000, 16,000, 24-ish thousand, something in there par steel per, and it runs 3 times in the month of December. Not only is it giving me that, it's giving me parts with gas, and then also my actual Explorer and Interceptor parts, which will help for ships down the road. Very, very useful to be getting all these resources. Now, some easy crews to do this. The lowest crew I've seen use, or the lowest ship I've seen use this crew and score, was a Burrell at level 34. It was able to completely destroy a heavy in a capital system. Now, if you recall, I made a video about this crew recently where you can use Beverly Mud and then Talon, or Beverly Mud Khan, using a variation of this to then score and destroy a hostile in the capital systems. And when I'm talking about the heavies, I'm talking about the big ones. Now, the reason that we're focusing on the heavies is if you go and destroy one, you're going to finish Para Bellum immediately. You won't have to worry about hunting down all the regular transports like this Intrepid is trying to do. You can take them all out in one blow. And we've done it several times on screen, and y'all have gotten to see that. So if we move up there, you'll be able to see that W happen. Now, if you want to fight the regular transports, which is fine, you would use Pike Monroe Chin or Picard Beverly Chin. But even with something like an Augur or an Enterprise, it's going to take a couple of hits to get through. However, this crew that we're talking about, and because Para Bellum is based on creating damage and dealing damage, this is going to help you do the most against these heavies, as well as making it take you less time. Because the biggest issue every time Para Bellum comes is you have this happening. Everybody is tying up the few transports that spawn, and you need big players to come in and destroy the heavies. Well, now people in the mid to high 30s can clear their own heavies using this type of crew right here. It's actually behind me, so I'll just do this. Bam. Or replace Talon with Khan. And I would have that, but he is currently on an away mission. Make sure you check out that video that I put out this past week about this if you want to know more in detail how this works and to go over the math of it. But hopefully it helps you out in today's activities. Enjoy your gameplay. I love y'all. Live long and prosper. Stay safe with our Space Cowboys. I appreciate you as always, because you are the ones that keep me going and keep this game going. Deuces, that's me. I'll catch you on the next one. Toodaloos.
An even better outro than the intro. For the Empire and glory to your house.